Hey there guys, Next Gen Striker here back again for another video, and today we're going to be covering a topic that a lot of people have discussed throughout the internet on various forums, videos, comment sections, you name it. This is something that has been going around for a long time because DC has made a ton of great animated films, and of course the topic of the video is the greatest DC animated film of all time. Now of course, keep in mind the date of the recording because DC continues to pump out more animated films. So, with that in mind, obviously there's going to be more new films, and there could be one that breaks so much new ground that it could be the new greatest film, in my opinion, or your opinion, or whatever. But taking this into account, the last animated film that came out was Suicide Squad Hell to Pay, so just keeping that in mind. Batman Ninja, I don't really know if we count that or not because it was kind of an oddball one. I haven't seen it yet though, so it doesn't really matter either way. But the greatest video of all, or the greatest DC animated film of all time, this is a tough one because, again, there are so many great ones. I feel like DC has really poured their heart and soul into a lot of these animated films. We started from the 90s. So, really, I'm talking about every animated film, not just the DC animated film line, which started with Superman Doomsday, but every animated film. So, we're talking Batman the Animated Series onward. There's a lot of really good animated stuff there, and a lot of people have a lot of different opinions. But with that in mind, the greatest animated film to me is Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, no question. Now, I know a lot of people will say different things, like, what about Batman Under the Red Hood? What about The Dark Knight Returns Part 1 and 2? What about Batman Year One? What about Mask of the Phantasm? There's a lot of them, and most of them are Batman if you couldn't already tell. But to me, Batman Beyond Return of the Joker was really just something else. It was that movie that was so different and it was so unique. And not only that, but it was based on really nothing. Like, Batman Beyond was an original creation, it had no original comics. So keep that in mind. Then the animated film, again, same thing. It was based in that universe, it wasn't based on anything. And it was just so good, so entertaining. And a lot of people say the best scene in the film was when they went back to the Batman the Animated Series universe and really told that really dark story about the Joker and what happened to Tim Drake. And the whole film for me was so good because it had such a good flow. I really love the Batman Beyond universe. To me, it's like one of the best things that DC's made in a long time. Now we're talking original stuff here. Batman Beyond was an awesome series. I actually own the entire series and I've watched it, love it so much. So for me, Batman Beyond Return of the Joker is like everything great about the Batman animated series and Batman Beyond the animated series kind of thrown together. Of course, it's great to have the Joker back. I mean, Joker's a great villain. Obviously, in this film, it shows that having the Joker gang on top of having the Joker in the film was really good. The animation was top notch, which is the case with most DC animated films. The music was really cool because with Batman Beyond, if you guys watch the series, you would know that the soundtrack in that series was really awesome. It was more of a sort of heavy metal rock kind of thing. It was a futuristic thing, and back then they thought, oh, well, rock's going to be the thing. Well, I guess we still don't know, but music has certainly changed since then, but I still really like the feel of it. To me, I feel like Batman Beyond is like this own little universe. Like, it definitely feels like it's a part of something else, like outside of the other DC stuff, right? Where Batman and Superman and the Justice League and all of them live. I feel like Batman Beyond is so far out there, and the series still holds up, and I think the film really does hold up. I really love the character designs and the animation and the music and the action. And the storyline, I mean, really is what makes it the best thing. I know people watch these DC animated films for different reasons. I mean, for example, if you wanted something that was, I don't know, what was the best action film? Maybe you'd say Superman Doomsday, or you would say Batman, Superman, Public Enemies, or something like that, right? Um, the films bring different things to different characters and different storylines. I mean, you got different characters. Obviously, if your favorite character is Green Lantern, you might favor the Green Lantern over maybe Batman or something like that. But to me, Batman Beyond is just such a good universe as it is, and then the movie really just elevates it even higher. And if you're like me and you really like the Batman animated series verse, really like the Arkham games, which is more or less the same thing, but just a more adult version, a little bit different, then Batman Beyond Return of the Joker is really, it's like that final story that we never had, right? Because we had Batman the animated series, and then it just ended. And we had Justice League, which kind of carried over Batman and Superman and all that stuff and put them all together. But we never really got a lot of stories outside of that. aside from the animated films, we had what was it, Batman, Mystery of the Batwoman, and we had Sub-Zero, and of course Mask of the Phantasm. But other than that, I mean, we didn't really have anything else, and that really kind of extended that. Between that and the Justice League Unlimited episode, which kind of tied in all that universe together, it's really cool to see that. And with this film, it is the very first PG-13, I believe. I think even Mask of the Phantasm, was it PG? I think it was PG. But I think that Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, it had the first unrated, or was it PG-13? Whatever. It was something with the ratings. I remember that. And that's why there were two separate versions of the film. Now, when I grew up and I was young and I watched it, I saw the VHS version, which was the edited version, which is where, spoiler alert if you haven't seen the movie already, it's really good. The Joker dies from electrocuting himself, which is actually a really dark and effective death, which I think I kind of prefer that to the unedited version, which is Tim Drake killing the Joker. I know that there's more of a dark meaning to that. Obviously, I mean, Tim Drake would feel guilty for the rest of his life for killing someone, so I understand that. But to me, the electrocution scene was just so, I don't know, it was just so dark and so good at the same time. And it was really nice, again, just to see all those animated characters again, all that universe come together. And I feel like the story they told, even outside the Joker, like with the Joker characters and the guy who's trying to take over Bruce Wayne's company, and just all that stuff. Like, everything in the film was just good. It was really well paced, and it really just tied everything together. I feel like with a lot of DC animated films, they have parts in them where it's like, okay. I mean, it's subjective, of course. Obviously, to me, Batman Beyond Return of the Joker is the best film. I just really like the pacing, animation, art, story, all that stuff. I feel like it all just comes together very well. Of course, it helps that I grew up with it, but even when I grew up with it, it's just like, I grew up with those other films as well. And I was still like a teenager when the other DC animated films came out, but to me, Batman Beyond Return of the Joker was just so good. And I hadn't even seen the uncut version of it until I was much older. Like, I didn't even know there was a separate version of it, which is crazy, which had all these extra scenes, which, I mean, maybe not all of them were completely necessary. I feel like the edited version did the job just fine, just like the animated series. I mean, they had to cut corners, but it ended up being a great thing because we had some really great stories and stuff that came from that, and great images that came from edits and stuff. So, of course, you guys are going to have your own opinions, and like I said, we're going to continue to have really great DC animated films, I hope. I mean, I hope that's the case, right? Because DC has this legacy of great animated films, and I do hope that that keeps going, because there's just so many good DC films and that can be made, and so many great comic book stories that can be adapted. So to me, it's like, why can't we just have more? It would even be cool if they took maybe some of the animated properties that are popular and they just made more stories about them, like Teen Titans. You guys remember that movie where they went to Tokyo? Make another one, right? Teen Titans is popular. Make another one. Make another one off the Batman animated series that is good. We technically did have that with what was it, Batman and Harley Quinn. Oh, but man, that was a not so good one. Speaking of, I am gonna make a worst DC animated video as well after this at some point, so be prepared for that. That's actually going to be tougher for me to figure out than this really the best one. But I mean, again, there's going to be opinions. I'm sure that one's going to get more interesting. But what I would really like you guys to do is tell me below what your thoughts are on, first off, Batman Beyond Return of the Joker as a film, and then also what would be your top DC animated films. I know it's tough because if I really had to sit here and make a list and like actually go down the best to worst, that would be super tough. One, because there's just so many of them, and two, because it's like so many of them are so different, right? I mean, we're all gonna have different opinions, but like if we're gonna compare a movie like All-Star Superman, and we're gonna compare that to, I don't know, Batman Superman Apocalypse, or we're going to compare it to Justice League Crisis on Two Earths. Like, they're so different, and they're all good in their own way, and they all have weaknesses too. I mean, some of them more than others, but it's difficult to figure out which one's the best. I do feel like it comes down to character preference as well. So, if you're not as big of a Batman fan as me, you might say, oh, well, the Flashpoint Paradox is my favorite movie, which, it's a subjective thing, so I want you guys to remember that. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thumbs up if you like, subscribe if you like, comment below, let me know your thoughts, and that's all I had for now. I don't think I really had anything else to say on Batman Beyond Return of the Joker. It's just a great film, and if you haven't seen it, seriously go see it. It's such a good film. You can actually probably watch it on YouTube or something, but go buy it and support DC because, you know, that's good. So anyway, that's all I had for now. Catch you guys later.